I'm sorry I can't be with you in person, but I can't tell you how much it means to me and Elizabeth that you're taking time to be there for us. I hope to see each of you personally in the days to come and talk about all the ways we can work together to reclaim our government, make our country live up to its ideals, and reach its incredible potential. One of the Democrats' core values is to protect working families. This is a value that I will never abandon. I grew up in such a family. I know how important they are. They are what the Democratic Party is about. It is at the heart of what makes America what it is. I have benefited from this middle-class dream because you're looking at somebody who's grown up in the shining light of America. My life has been blessed with extraordinary success. My story, though, shouldn't be the exception. This opportunity, the kind of opportunities that I've had in my life, should be available to millions and millions of kids across America every single day. The truth is, the American people are relentlessly positive and optimistic, and they believe in their hearts that anything is possible. They just need a leader who believes in them. A president who has vision on how America should lead around the world, vision on energy independence, vision on how to address the healthcare crisis, vision on how to bring jobs and economic opportunity to places where it doesn't presently exist. A leader who will give them a chance to do what they're capable of doing. That's what the campaign's about. And we can't ever lose sight of that. That anger alone will not change America. Action will. We are the party that has always been there to provide leadership and action when it was called for. My fight is to keep that tradition alive. The kind of tradition we saw from Franklin Roosevelt, who led this country at such a difficult time, gave us Social Security as a result. John Kennedy, who led us at a time of great racial divide in America, and we got civil rights laws and voting rights laws as a result. It is time for us to lead again. It is time for us to make the American people believe in themselves, make them proud to be Americans again, to believe that they live in a country where everything is possible. When I did my book, which was called Home, it was about the homes that different people grew up in from very different backgrounds. What became clear was they all told the same stories, whether they were rich or poor or wherever they grew up, was they remembered being in the kitchen, the smell of food, their mother or father, or coming home from work. I mean, those common experiences, which all of us have, they're what bind us. They're the undercurrent of our lives in this country as Americans.
Okay, this is from my story, which is at the beginning. It says, probably because we moved around so much. For me, home is more about all the things that turn a house into a home than it is about the house itself. It's waiting for my father, who'd come home around 7 p.m. It's sitting down to dinner every night, the whole family. It's going to work in the mill with my father in the summer. My ball games, church on Sunday night. Home is family, home is safety, home is faith. The place that helps define how we see ourselves and how we choose to make our way in the world, the blueprint of our lives.
My father and mother, Wallace and Bobby Edwards, are also here tonight. You taught me the values that I carry in my heart: faith, family, responsibility, opportunity for everybody. You taught me that there's dignity and honor in a hard day's work, because job is about more than a paycheck. It's about dignity and self-respect. Hard work should be valued in this country, so we're going to reward work, not just wealth. We don't want people to just get by. We want people to get ahead. We're going to say no forever to any American working full-time and living in poverty. Not in our America, not in our America, not in our America.
And my own view is We need to stop being about little things and be about big ideas and a big vision and take back the moral high ground, both here and the way the rest of the world looks at us.
Ladies and gentlemen, the guy who could have won in 2004, John Edwards. Thank you, Senator.
Our issues this Sunday, our Meet the Candidates 2008 series begins today. An exclusive interview with Democrat John Edwards. He announced his candidacy for president 5 weeks ago in New Orleans, and he joins us here this morning.
Looking at the race now, you have Iowa, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Carolina. Is that your strategy? Roll through those 4 states and lock up the nomination?
My strategy is to demonstrate to voters and caucus goers that I'm prepared to be President of the United States, and I'm what we need as President of the United States, and I'm doing it because I want to serve my country. That's my strategy. I want every voter in any of these states and in America to know where I stand, to know what I would do as President of the United States.
40 years ago, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King spoke about the escalation of the war in Vietnam. And in his words, he said, "There come times when standing silent, when you know you should speak out, is a betrayal. It's a betrayal of yourself. It is a betrayal of your country. Silence is betrayal." That time has come again. Opposing this escalation with all the vigor and tools and strength that we have is a test of political courage. And you better believe that George Bush, Dick Cheney, and Karl Rove, they're counting on us to be weak, to be political, and to be careful. This is not the time for political calculation. This is the time for political courage. It is the time to stand up and stand up for what we know is right.
The reason I talked about Two Americas is because I believe we have a country made up of a few people who are doing extremely well and then everybody else. We have 2 public school systems, one for the wealthiest communities, one for everybody else. We have 2 healthcare systems. So as you go down the line, there are 2 kinds of Americas. One of the reasons I want to be president is I want people who grow up in this country to have the kind of chances that I've had. And that grows out of my own life experience. I watched my father, who had a high school education, work in mills all his life, so that I and my brother and sister could have a better life. The people that worked in that mill with my father are just good and decent and honorable people. They're not famous, they're not well known, but they did heroic things for themselves and their own families. And those are the people who work hard are the people who we should honor in this country.
It is time for our party, our Democratic Party, to stand with the people who made America great, men and women who worked with their hands, who worked in the factories, worked in the mills, the men and women of organized labor. They will never lack the backbone to stand up for their workers. They will right injustice when they see it. They will fight with courage and passion. And I'll speak for this Democrat. I am proud to stand with them. Will you stand with the men and women of organized labor who are out there fighting for us every single day, who are fighting for working men and women all across this country? Will you? Will you stand with them? Will you stand with them proudly?
One thing we know for sure, the politicians in Washington will do what they have to do when the people stand up and are heard. And they're going to be heard. We have a health care system that arguably is in crisis today, but it's getting worse.
I'm actually very proud of the fact that I was the first presidential candidate to lay out a detailed, substantive, truly universal health care plan.
When you say everything's covered, is there, deductibles, co-pays in your plan?
Yes, there are deductibles, there are co-pays, and they are dependent on your income level. But basically, there are going to be choices available. There will be efficiencies created that don't exist in our healthcare system today. We're going to dramatically lower administrative costs. The government plays a very important role. The government will set up healthcare markets around the country. In each of these healthcare markets, a number of things will be accomplished. First, there'll be choices from which people can choose the healthcare plan that they want. Some of the choices are private insurers. One of the choices will be the government. It'll be something similar to Medicare. If you have your health coverage in one of these health markets, then you can either leave your job or go to a different job and keep the health care that you've got. There will be an enormous benefit from people having health care from the time they're born until the time they die. And that includes preventative care. Because one of the things that motivates me is that we have 37 million people who live in poverty, not just 47 million people who don't have health care coverage. And I think every single American has equal worth, and I don't think we should treat anybody as better than anybody else. That's the heart and soul of who we are in this country. I keep hearing people describe me as a populist. If being a populist means you feel deeply and strongly committed to regular people having a real chance and not getting run over by big, powerful interests, oh yeah. If that's true, I'm a populist.
He keeps talking about the right and the truth. And, well, we haven't heard that in quite a while. And I think he'd be one that everyone could say, hey, that's my president, and really mean it and be proud of it.
What have you learned about what it takes to be a good president?
Strength, clear idea of who you are, clear idea of where you believe the country needs to go and how to get there.
A good, decent, honorable human being who's open and honest with the country, because that is the only way we're going to reestablish trust between the American people and the president. And I also think it's going to be really important to reestablishing trust between America and the world, because the president is, in effect, the personification of America. I've seen what's happening around this country, and I've spent about half my time either overseas or working on issues overseas. I think I have a different level of maturity.
Tomorrow begins today. We can take responsibility for this country today. We can take action today. So let's stand together. We have always been the party who stood with working men and women. We have always been the party who stood with the needy. We have always been the party who stood with the frail, with the children, with the elderly. That's who we are. We don't need to redefine the Democratic Party. We need to reclaim the Democratic Party. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.